Games in this podcast range from E to M. Hi, it's Larry Herb, Xbox's Major Nelson. Welcome to the official Xbox podcast. I'm your host, and joining me in just a minute is, here they are, bring them in. There's Jeff over there, and there's Rebecca over there. And what is this? What is this?
I don't know. Just like bring it in. Bring it in.
Bring it in.
This is you bringing us in.
Bring it in for your close-up. Anyway, good to
pull up a knee. You know, we're gonna rap at you.
Pop a squat. Okay, we should stop.
I don't know what's going on here. I've lost control in the first 15 seconds.
You've never had control.
Anyway, welcome, Jeff. Welcome, Rebecca. Rebecca, how are things out there in New York? Do we undo the weather check, or are we okay with that?
Yeah. Today's forecast is a high of 74 degrees and a good chance of bagels, indeed.
That's right.
You're just bragging,
I like that.
And I'm over it.
I like that forecast. Anyway, we're going to jump in. We got a bunch of news. We got some great interviews this week, like we do every week. We're going to talk about what we're playing. And I don't know about you all, but my play has unfortunately quite suffered recently. I mean, I'm still chewing away in Halo. The internet has been yelling at Jeff and I because we haven't invited you into our Halo games. To be fair, I think, Jeff, you and I don't think we played Halo this week, did we?
We did not. Maybe this weekend. It's been busy.
What do you plan? I mean, I see what you've got in the back there. I recognize that, Jeff. Can we go full screen on Jeff and take a look at that?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I'm very close. I'm very close to finishing my battle pass. I think I'm on like page 9. I've been okay. I got page 8 done, and then we've been getting page 9 very close. You got to do a lot of stuff there, and then I will get my Doctor Strange, and then I can rest and I will sleep. So maybe
tonight, that is of course Fortnite over your shoulder behind you.
Yes. Thank you. So I've been running duos, and they get me with the skins absolutely every time, and still loving Zero Build. It's really great. We're getting about I would say a win an evening, which is nice, a royale, if you will. And they got me back in. Good for them. And then last week we also had a guest for Eiyuden Chronicle Rising, and I've played a ton of that. I think I'll probably beat that in the next day or two, and then I got to figure out what's next. What will I play next?
Well, what will you play next? I don't have any. Rebecca, I don't know if you have any, but we can talk about what you're playing right now.
Yeah. Okay. So I've still been playing Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. It's adorable. Yeah. It's really fun. It's really easy to like jump into. I also just really like the design of it, like just the dialogue with the characters, like the options you have. I also I defeated. There's a I can't remember the name of it, but there's like a pig boss that you have to defeat, and after I defeated it, it turned into all these little pieces of bacon, and then the bacon ran away. So it's just really, it has a lot of cute details. So I'm really enjoying the game. So I'm going to keep playing that. Maybe I'll beat it by the next show. Probably not. We announced the Xbox and Bethesda game showcase coming up here in a few weeks. And so I think the three of us have all been pretty busy getting ready for that. Lots of good news coming. And, the playtime tends to suffer as a result of having to work more. So, but I have been watching also, I watched some streams recently for Halo Infinite, with the long season coming out. I was actually feeling pretty good because one of the streams I saw, I'm not going to name drop because the guy who was playing was not super impressive. He I saw him do a bunch of moves, he grapple hooked, and then he was pulling himself closer to an enemy, and I was like, oh, he's doing good, and then he just totally botched it, and the other guy ended up killing him. And so
you're not gonna call him out publicly, are you?
You're not gonna call out that you were watching Larry's stream.
That was not my stream. I can hold my own with the grapple, mister.
Yeah, I believe that. I don't know, Larry, have you been playing Halo Infinite?
Yeah, I've been playing it. Got a regular crew, Jeff, that rotates in. Jeff joins us sometimes when he's not playing Fortnite, and we've been playing quite a bit. The last Spartan standing is, I'm chewing through that, those challenges and taking care of.
What's your high water mark on that right now? Second. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
But it was a cheap second. It's one of those where you're kind of turtling and hanging out in the back of the map as things close, and you're just looking around, and all of a sudden you get back smacked and you're dead. And number 2, so I'll take it. It was not a gracious nor a classy number 2. It was kind of a
dishonorable number 2. But
I would say dishonorable, but it just doesn't. It feels cheap. It feels cheap. So,
it's okay. You'll take it though.
Yeah. So I have not got number 1 yet. I need to work on that. But we've just been in some of the new big team maps and some of the checking out the new maps and having fun with it. That's what it is. It's like 20, 30 minutes an evening, and then okay, out we go. Now, on to the next game. So that's what I'm doing. That's kind of what I'm playing. So, but yeah, to your point, Rebecca, it is the Xbox Bethesda Game Showcase is coming up next month. And as I said last week, and I announced earlier, I'll be headed to Melbourne for our Fan Fest there. We've got Fan Fest in Toronto and Spain. And will you guys be in LA? Yeah, you guys will be in Los Angeles. I confirmed
this week that I'll be in LA. And the Canada team invited me, and I would love to be in Canada. I would love to be in 2 places at once, but right. I've got a lot to do to help execute the LA event. So yep. I'll be there for that, and I'll be sending my regards to everyone attending in Toronto.
Anyway, so we've got the Bethesda Games Showcase coming up, and we're all working very hard on that, making sure we're ready to bring you, dear gamers, dear listeners, dear viewers, a great show with great games and announcements. So that's all we can really say about that. We will be dark, meaning we won't have any shows 2 weeks prior because we just don't want to sit here and stare at each other and go, so how you guys doing? Right? We're gonna kind of let it go and
feel like we already got there.
Yeah.
So anyway, what else we got there before? We got some interviews here. We got a few things we're going to go over. Jeff, you have got some news, I believe.
Yeah. Rebecca and I both do. So if you recall, sort of towards the end of last week's show, actually, we ended up cutting like a little promo that the Fall Guys team ended up running about us, talking about a live stream that was going to be happening this week, which it did. And that announcement was, drum roll. And I didn't really think about that. I don't have drums, but
I don't have them either.
Yeah, I've got like that sort of like a keyboard dampening thing. It really is not conducive for percussion. Anyway, Fall Guys, it's going to be launching on Xbox on June 21st. It's the longest day of the year. Stay up late, enjoy the sun, and play a bunch of Fall Guys. It's
not
also
just
launching. Free to play.
Free to play. That's it. That's one of the headlines.
Larry, I got the full story. I'm sitting here looking at it. So, and now if you'd say, well, I'm an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate member. Surely there's something extra for me. Yes, there is. So there will be exclusive costume rewards via perks for Fall Guys with some of the best skins that they've had during the time that game has previously been available. And we'll get all right. Well, the horn honkers like that.
Move on, so please. The horn is
Next
spoken.
Topic.
Next topic. All right, Fall Guys. So coming soon, we announced, as we do every couple of weeks, more titles coming to Xbox Game Pass. So available as we speak. Her Story is available on PC. This is a live action sort of a crime fiction. It's nonlinear. You sort of watch these videos and figure out what's going on. It's a cool genre. And this team has done a couple of those, but Her Story was, I want to say, the first. Telling Lies was another game that they did. And so very interesting there. Jurassic World Evolution 2 is also available on Xbox Game Pass for cloud console and PC right now. This is where you build the park.
I played the first one. You get to train raptors. You get to build your park, put up the gift shop and, where do you want the bathrooms and all this stuff. So if you ever want to design a dino theme park, here you go.
Do things ever go sideways? And
they sure do.
Perfectly smooth. The T-Rexes stay in their pen. They eat the sheep or whatever. It's pretty much, it's a chill game. Nothing bad happens.
Just
like in the movies.
Things can go sideways, and like I said, nature will find a way. So it's things.
There you go. Oh, you're quoting your Jeff Goldblum, who you got to meet when we did a junket for the first game, and that was a great interview. So we should probably find a clip of that. Well worth watching if we can put the link in the into the
we had matching
chat.
Glasses, and it was quite funny. So Jeff,
you two really hit it off. And there's a chaos theory mode in this. So bringing it back to
fun.
I think Ian Malcolm. All right, another game available day one with Xbox Game Pass, meaning now. Little Witch in the Woods, which is a game preview from an ID and Xbox on console and PC. Skate is available via cloud. Of course, this is for those of you who have access to EA Play for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and for PC members. And then Umurangi Generation Special Edition available on cloud, console, and PC. That is a day one game. Coming soon. Actually, in a couple cases, it will be now, depending on when you're listening to this. Farming Simulator 22, the latest in the long-running series for cloud, console, and PC. Vampire Survivors, that is a PC title. And then next week, Floppy Knights, Hard Space Shipbreaker, and Sniper Elite 5, which is a pretty big title available on day one with Xbox Game Pass for console and PC. And then for you cricket fans, maybe Larry, you should probably play this before you head out to Australia. Cricket 22 is coming out on May 27th on PC. And then finally also on May 27th. Yeah, big Shaun of the Dead fan, maybe. Pac-Man Museum Plus will be available on day one with Xbox Game Pass. Features 14 of the different Pac-Man games. I don't know if you've ever played the version that came out. It was like a 4-player version that came out like maybe 10 years ago. Really fun.
Dang, there's a lot coming to Xbox Game Pass this week.
There's a ton, but also a lot. There's always news in the Minecraft world, including some very irritated avians coming to Minecraft. Can you tell us about that? Trying to thesaurus this. All right.
Yeah, for those of you who don't speak code, that means Angry Birds. So this week we announced the Minecraft Angry Birds DLC, which is really cool. I'm sure that many of you played the game on your phones. Gosh, I don't even know how long ago that was, like 20 years. But it's really cool because within 10? Gosh, was it really only 10?
Yeah. We didn't have smartphones 20 years ago, Rebecca.
20 years ago, come on.
Right.
It just feels like 20 years ago.
Right.
It's been a long
Did
time.
I even have a phone 20 years ago? Anyway, okay, Angry Birds DLC. The really cool thing about it is that we actually put catapult mechanics into the game. And so you can actually like play a functional game of Angry Birds where you put the bird into the catapult and you're trying to, I'm trying to remember, is it you're trying to hit the pigs or you're trying to break down the
You're trying
fortresses
to
that the pigs built?
but using
you're
sort
trying
of
to
the
get the
physics
pigs
to like break down, and because you make them fall off of the, the structure.
Things fall onto
it looks
their
really
head.
cool. Looking
Sorry,
at the
it's been
trailer
20 years. I forget.
Yes, 30 years now.
Yeah.
It's really cool seeing it in 3D though, because that was always a 2D game where you would shoot like, from left to right or whatever. So
The birds were very circular. Yeah, they were very round. And so I love seeing things that are historically round being brought into Minecraft and being cubified.
Right.
Let's see. And then the other piece of Minecraft news I wanted to mention, next week, Minecraft Dungeons is going to hit its 2-year anniversary, which is wild. This was I think we launched this game just around the start of the pandemic. I'd never done a game launch. It was chaos, May 2020, working from home and then figuring everything out and figuring out how do we do remote previews and everything. Yeah. And so, 2 years later, here we are. Minecraft Dungeons has a ton of DLC, moved to a seasonal model. And then season 2 actually just released as well. And so for those of you who know Minecraft, Minecraft loves cake and like sweets related things around the like birthday or anniversary. So for the anniversary, we have an anniversary cape and then a bunch of different like cake looking
cape, not cake.
I mean, both. I think the cape, no, but I mean, there's like a cake hat and like with a sparkling candle, and then there's a cape. But so there's a bunch of different items. But one of the cutest though is there's a baby Moo Bloom pet, a kind of cow-looking mob, but it's mini and it's a pet, and so it kind of goes into battle with you and it follows you around. But yeah, lots of cool stuff taking place in the anniversary event. So that's going on from May 25th until June 15th. It's free to jump in and join. So highly recommend everyone check it out.
Yep. And if you want any more news about that, just always head over to news.xbox.com and just scroll on down and you'll find many of what we're talking about here. Yes, Jeffrey.
Couple quick hits. Just want to announce that speaking of seasonal models, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Minecraft Flight Simulator would be something, but Microsoft Flight Simulator, yes, has released its 9th update. It is free and it really fleshes out like beautiful areas in Italy and Malta. Malta is a small island chain south of Sicily, and I have a friend there right now, just randomly, and on Instagram. It looks amazing. Looks like a place you would definitely want to visit. Arma Reforger is available now on Xbox in game preview. Arma was a huge PC game, or really still is, but what's it like on console? And lastly, this weekend. If you want to watch something interesting, there is the Indie Live Expo 2022 that will be taking place on Saturday and Sunday. It's based out of Japan, so expect to see a lot of Japanese indie games. There'll be some Let's Plays, there'll be some premieres. There's information over on Xbox Wire. The timing, look at the timing. It's going to be kind of late at night. Looks like it's like 6:30 p.m. Japan time. I want to say that's like 2:30 in the morning Pacific, 5:30 in the morning East, but some people stay up late or wake up early, and I'm sure there'll be VODs. But anyway, more details over on Xbox Wire. Yeah, I mean, when you're in Australia, Larry, you'll be like, I wish I had something to stay up late and watch. And there's this. It's
funny. I was thinking of Microsoft Flight Simulator about the Italy and Malta thing. Did you? I don't know if you were talking about that, but apparently there's 4 handcrafted airports and 9 new activities. And Jeff, unlimited breadsticks.
Very good, Larry. Very good.
I love it.
Thank you. Tried a little bit of something there. Anyway, thanks for rounding up. There's a lot. I mean, even though, as we said earlier, we're going into the Bethesda Game Showcase, and we'll hear some more news when that happens. But there's a lot of stuff that's coming up as we get out of the way here. In fact, we've got some interviews coming up here. Jeff, do you mind bringing us into those interviews so we can share people?
Yes, we do. Well, first of all, you're going to hear Rebecca had a chance to catch up with Anita Mortallone, Director of Gaming Accessibility. And then Larry, you met up with Casey Bates, and he's got some really cool designed for Xbox monitors. Know you love your tech, so let's see what he's got.
Thursday, May 19th was Global Accessibility Awareness Day, so we thought that it would be a good idea to bring on Anita Mortallone, who is the Director of Gaming Accessibility at Xbox. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So for those who might not be familiar, how would you explain accessibility as a field?
What a great starting question. So accessibility really is about making it so everybody that wants to be able to play or interact with the world can. We want to make sure that somebody with a disability can interact with the world, because in most cases it's a mismatch between the person and the environment. And so we want to be able to remove all of those barriers.
Oh, that's interesting. I think I've heard that description before, like it's a mismatch between a person and the environment. So it's like making it better for them to interact with the environment. So I guess with gaming specifically, like what does gaming accessibility look like?
Gaming accessibility, it covers so many things. A lot of times when people think of gaming accessibility, the first thing that comes to mind is the Xbox Adaptive Controller. Absolutely. But it also covers everything from platform to console to games to how we do inclusive marketing to make sure that when we share information about a game or a new feature, that everybody is able to access that and learn about it on day one. And so stuff like the all ASL Twitch channel that now mirrors the Xbox content is available. I think they have over 25 hours of content a week that has ASL interpreters on it, so that everybody can really enjoy that content.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think for me, like one of the first things that comes to mind is like closed captioning or like adjusting for like color blindness. Like I think that some of the Forza games in the past have had like different ways to like make the colors more vivid or better for people who were had like disabilities that were related to vision. But I guess there are just so many different disabilities around the world. So like, how would you say that Xbox is kind of tackling all of those different challenges? I mean, it seems so wide.
And I think that's one of the things that I really love about the accessibility space is there's not one answer. There's not one magic switch that's going to make everything accessible to everyone. Like take, for example, you mentioned color blindness. There's multiple variations of color blindness. And even within a single one, let's say protanopia, different people experience that differently. And so when we talk about making our products and experiences accessible, it's really about going and talking with people, listening to the feedback and hearing their lived experience, and then taking all of that into account and feeding that into the product to make it better for everybody. And so we do that, be it with color blindness or across all the different disabilities. But it really comes down to putting the player at the center and understanding how do you play? What are the barriers that you're facing? Which one of those barriers did we put in unintentionally, and how can we remove those so that you can enjoy the power of play and connect with the people that you want in an environment that you feel safe and welcomed in and represented, and you can see yourself in that game.
That's awesome. And I love these moments like Global Accessibility Awareness Day because, accessibility is something that we're working on year round, but it's nice to have a moment in time where we can kind of say like, hey, let's talk about this. So do you have any other like thoughts around like what is Xbox doing to celebrate or observe this moment in time?
Great point on Global Accessibility Awareness Day being a day. And it's our chance to really celebrate the community and everybody behind what we do, why we do, and raise those voices up. One of the things that we like to emphasize is that accessibility doesn't just happen for one day. It's something that we want to continually invest in, talk about, get feedback on throughout the entire year and improve on, and not save a whole bunch of features and announcements for a single day, because we want to get those out and get the feedback from the community as soon as possible.
Yeah. So as the Director of Gaming Accessibility at Xbox, it's an awesome role. I guess what does a day in the life look like for you? Like, are there any specific projects that you're working on that you can share with us? Or what's the day-to-day like?
Oh my goodness, that's the question that everybody always asks. And every day is a little bit different. We get to work. One of the great things about our role is we get to work across all the different teams at Xbox and all the different roles, be it hardware, software, studios, engineers, designers, producers, and figure out how we can support all of the different teams, make it easier for everyone in Xbox to include accessibility and connect them with the community. One of our main focuses is bringing in the voices of the community and making sure that all the teams are partnering with the community to develop those great experiences.
And what kind of work were you doing? I mean, I assume that you haven't always been doing gaming accessibility specifically, but what other kind of work have you done to bring you to your current role?
Newer to Xbox land. Prior to this, I was over in Office, Windows and Office in Microsoft for about 14 some years, driving accessibility there, and previously was doing like release management, ship rooms, and some telemetry work there as well. And came over here to Xbox because it was the middle of a pandemic. And it was that moment where working from home, sharing an office with my kiddo, that's always, a great fun experience. Remote learning and work happening in the same office. I really thought it was an opportunity to focus on play, the power of connection, because I saw that come through when we were all kind of stuck at home. Like those organic play dates and after school activities didn't happen anymore, and really saw how transformation happened through my kid being able to play with his friends, and that like why it was so incredibly important to be able to do that at a time where the world was just topsy-turvy, and be able to provide that fun. And so when the opportunity came up to do that here in Xbox, absolutely, it seemed kind of like a dream job to be able to come here and focus on play and connection and make it so even more people can enjoy the power of play and creation, because we really do want to bring in people with disabilities into the creator phase as well.
Oh, I love that. I think you're totally right. Like in the pandemic, we saw so many like kids and just people like using games as a way to connect with their friends. Like a lot of my friends who didn't play games previously, started playing like different like mobile games or even some console games. And like that was how we connected. And, like you said, it's about making sure that people have the ability to do that regardless of, what their like physical limitations might be. So I think that's awesome. I love that that's why you started working at Xbox. Okay, so then what do you think is next for accessibility? I mean, I feel like it's a field that's probably been changing so much and so rapidly as technology advances. So what do you think is next?
Yes, you hear this a lot, but accessibility is a journey. It is one of those things that we are making great strides in, but we still have a really long way to go. Recently, we released, we have the Xbox accessibility guidelines. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but it's a set of best practices that are for designers and developers to really take their game to the next level and understand where they can bring accessibility in, or a checklist for how developers can validate the accessibility of their game. And we just recently added the first mental health guideline. So I think that is a space, some of it provoked through COVID and the pandemic and everybody, being thrown by that, to bring that into the game. And how do we represent that in a way that's authentic and real and is taking into account how people play the game? So I think mental health is a big area. And the other area is around creating and making sure that we enable creators, designers, developers, producers to bring accessibility in from the beginning and make it really easy to bring in and partner with the community to bring in those lived experiences and get representation. Like, there's no way that Xbox can create experiences that replicate the global community if our teams themselves don't represent the global community. So it really is critical that we bring in people with disabilities and diversity across the board into our teams so we can build products that represent us, that really represent the world.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. And I know you mentioned the accessibility guidelines, but do you have any other, I guess, like resources or anywhere else that you would like point to anyone who's interested in learning about accessibility or wants to work in this field?
Back in November, we've been getting that question a lot. And because accessibility, as you mentioned earlier, is such a big field, it's sometimes hard to know where to start. And sometimes it can be really intimidating to just ask or know where to start. And so we created the Gaming Accessibility Fundamentals course. It's free, intentionally free, up on Microsoft Learn. And it's about a 4-hour course that goes into the basics of what is gaming accessibility, how do you connect with the community, and then best practices and knowledge around hardware, software, assistive technologies, and games to really provide that 100 level information of here's what it is, here's how I get involved, and here's how I can get started. And at the end, you get a trophy that you can go put on LinkedIn or social. You can go share your knowledge and say, hey, I know a little bit more. You should too.
I love that. I mean, it wouldn't be gaming if there wasn't some kind of fun reward at the end, right?
Yes, exactly.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, honestly, the work you're doing in this space is really inspiring, and I just love that you're helping reduce some of the barriers for people around the world with who want to play games and be in the gaming community. So thank you again for everything that you do, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me and asking all these questions. I think one of the biggest obstacles we have in the space outside of removing barriers is just the knowledge of the accessibility features out there. There's a lot of features like captions or night mode that fall under accessibility features that really benefit the larger population, the whole idea of solve for one, extend to many. And so there's accessibility features out there that people don't know about. So I would encourage you to go check them out, dig a little bit, and see which ones that could maybe customize your play and apply to you as well.
Awesome. Yeah. And if folks want to learn more, head over to Xbox Wire. We have our Xbox Wire post celebrating and having a lot of these resources. So thank you again, Anita.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Casey Bates, welcome to the show. You are responsible for Xbox hardware. Specifically, in this case, we're talking about monitors. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Larry. Thanks for having me.
I mean, I was looking at some of the monitors that we've worked with, that your team specifically has worked on with some of the manufacturers, and it's quite an interesting offering. Tell us about the program, because this is actually really interesting work you're doing.
Yeah, we decided prior to launching the Xbox Series X and S that we wanted to go out and partner with some monitor manufacturers to create like optimal experiences for the Series X and the Series S. At that time, the only place you could find 4K 120 hertz was going to be in flagship TVs.
Yeah.
And it didn't really exist in the monitor space. And so we decided to say, hey, can we be partner with some of these manufacturers and maybe create some of the first 4K at 120 hertz monitors? And so we set kind of a baseline that these products needed to meet the Series X's high-end, flagship features. And that's going to be 4K at 120 hertz, variable refresh rate, and HDR. And we talked with some of the monitor manufacturers that we work with and landed with Acer, Philips, MSI, and Asus ROG as our launch partners in this category. And all those products hit those flagship features in a variety of sizes and price points. And so we've got monitor sizes down from 27 inches all the way up to a not really monitor size of 55 inches.
I know I've had a chance to play with the 55 inch, like at least the Philips, and it's quite an amazing piece. And I've got the MSI here that I'm going to drop into my studio. So you talked about the baseline features, but certainly each of the manufacturers adds their own secret sauce or their own features to it as well, right?
Absolutely. So there is a lot of engineering work, some big, some small, that we've done with each of these partners to make it a special experience with Xbox. Some of those show as like a dedicated Xbox picture mode in the monitor itself, and that might be turning on some features that make it work better with Xbox. That maybe makes the picture quality setting something that is more console-like over a PC. Yeah.
When you look at this, I mean, what was the reason we went after monitors? Certainly we work with a lot of television manufacturers and things like that. But monitors is interesting because, I mean, like I've got my Series S sitting on my desktop here. So it's nice to be able to plug it in and have everything just kind of automatically configure in some regards. But tell us about the strategy there.
Yeah, part of the impetus for going into this monitor space was when it came to TVs at the time, there was a lot of difficulty in setup, and it was you'd take your new Xbox and plug it into your new TV, and you'd find yourself digging through menus and manually turning on features and trying to get those magical green check marks in the 4K TV details page of your Xbox. So things have thankfully improved in a large part to my team on the TV side. But at the time, we were like, well, let's go out and work with these monitor partners to create an experience that makes it magical. When you buy this new monitor and this new Xbox and you plug them in together, everything just works. It's all green check marks down the board, and you're going to get the absolute best possible performance.
Yeah, I mean, the other option is when you get your TV, your monitor home is going down the very, very, very deep rabbit hole of AVS forums and looking for that, that thread about your specific model and somebody who's spent the time doing all the testing, it's an amazing resource, but it's like sometimes you don't want to go in there because you're like, well, mine is broken or this pixel's, things kind of get a little crazy sideways. So it's nice to be able to have that automatic configure. And it's also great that your team has worked across some of these major manufacturers to have kind of something for everybody, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually want to touch on something you just mentioned there around the AVS forums. And that's a big part of the quality, the testing that we do with these products. We have a world-class testing lab here at Design for Xbox. And prior to this program, it was kind of the Wild West as to whether or not a monitor would properly work with your Xbox. Yeah. Back when we launched, finding a 4K 120 hertz display, like I mentioned, was really relegated to the flagship TV space. And so that meant that there was still this 1080p, 1440p at 120 hertz you could find in the monitor space, because that has existed for years.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of those didn't work correctly. These monitors were developed long before the Xbox was developed, and they use more PC developed resolutions and refresh rates that were not compatible with the standard HDMI, like 1440p 120 hertz or 1080p 120 hertz. And so that was another reason we went into this, is to just make it easier on the customer, not have to dig through those forums, not have to consult your nerdy uncle on like what is actually going to work here. And so, when you see that design for Xbox badge, it's just going to work.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I remember a few years ago looking for monitors like, okay, I want to find one with HDR. This has HDR, but it doesn't have that. It doesn't have you could always find like 2 of the 3 things you wanted. You never really found them all. And with your programming, you mentioned the lab, and I've been into the lab many times. No, I can't show you a video of the lab. I know people want to see it. It's pretty amazing. It's like a wonderland in there. You go in and there's just it's the future.
I don't even have access anymore.
Yeah, I have to knock on the door, and sometimes I get in and sometimes I don't. But it's great that you're doing all that testing, and this testing isn't like you're not just throwing it up on the testing bench and saying, okay, yeah, it does this. You actually there's some rigor involved.
Absolutely, we've through this process, we've encountered issues, some small, some big, and they, it might be something as simple as, hey, when you turn the Xbox on every 30 times, you might have some sort of glitch in the matrix, and we uncover those problems, and we will go back to the monitor partners and we'll say, hey, here's what we found. Here's how we reproduce the problem. And we will get that resolved prior to this product ever shipping. And that's the type of integration and collaboration we have with these partners that you just don't find in a non-designed for Xbox monitor.
And that's what's really great is that people can go out, they can look. There's a logo on the box.
Yes.
And we'll show that. There's a logo on the box, and that means that it's gone through the testing. We've done the work directly with the monitors. It's not like we took the monitor and said, okay, this works, and stamped it on. No, we're actually working and talking to they're making changes on their hardware and their software based on our feedback, right?
Absolutely. And even beyond that, on the monitor packaging itself, there is going to be a chart on the side of the box that's going to tell you exactly what features that are relevant to Xbox are included. Like you mentioned before with like, it's got HDR, does it have this or does it have that? You'll actually see that on the side of the box. This has 4K 120 hertz. This has variable refresh rate. This has HDR. And some monitors at some point, I'd like to see this program find some monitors that more align with the Series S. And so it might not be 4K 120 hertz, maybe it's 1080p. And you'll see that indicated on the box. So you'll know, hey, this is going to work. These are the features that are important to me for my Xbox, and it'll be right there for you to see. Yeah,
so if you're looking at, if you have PC gaming or console gaming, I don't know if it looks like you kind of do the same situation I do. You maybe game on that big screen over your left shoulder.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. But sometimes I'm sitting at my desk, in between meetings. Sometimes I'm sitting at my desk, and it's great to have a similar experience to this, obviously, in terms of all of the features and to your point, all the green checkboxes. That's also an amazing feature that we have, because I know that you never really know, is it working? I think it's working. I turned it on. Gone are the days to a certain degree of, I remember when we launched the Xbox One X, is some of the inputs didn't have the right variable refresh rate or they didn't have HDR. Remember it was at the beginning of that era, and we're kind of past that, aren't we?
To some extent, I would like to say that we're past that, but 4K 120 hertz brought a whole new wrinkle into the entire industry. It requires all new hardware from our side and from the display side.
Right.
And with that, a lot of those first generation products, one HDMI port would have that capability and another might not. And so you get that confusing, like, am I plugging into the right port to give me all the features kind of a thing? And again, that's one of the things with this program. If a product were to come through a monitor, and one HDMI port were to have all the features and one wouldn't, that would be clearly indicated on the monitor itself. That's a requirement of the program.
Right. And right.
Again, it's all about ease of use, setup, out-of-box experience. It's that, like, I want it to all just work and work well and just have that peace of mind that I'm getting the absolute best from my Xbox.
Can you talk a little bit about, there's a new feature that's on our Insiders program with the volume. You and I talked about that before we were recording. Let's talk about, that's a great example of the hardware and the software working together.
Absolutely. So working with Philips, and now all these products have been in development for years. And so prior to the Xbox Series X ever even launched, and we have a roadmap of features that we're working on with Xbox. And one of those was the ability to send a volume command to your TV, your display, via CEC. Now, CEC is not really what I would call a common feature in the monitor space. It started with TVs, and it's found in just about every TV today.
Is it consumer electronic control or something?
Oh, don't put me on the spot.
I don't remember what that is, but
I actually should know that.
It's actually, just so people know, just a level set is, you kind of alluded to it, it's the ability for the console or other electronic devices to turn your TV on, move, and then turn to the right input.
Yes.
At the baseline.
And send volume commands. You
Yeah.
can send some basic transport, play, pause, fast forward, rewind kind of commands.
Right.
And on the monitor space, not super common, but when we were developing these products with Philips, they were like, hey, we're thinking of adding CEC into it. And we're like, well, okay, well, that's interesting because we're bringing CEC to the Xbox Series S and X for the first time. We hadn't supported CEC prior to these new consoles.
Yep.
And here's our roadmap of features that we'd like to implement. And so actually, it's not even, I believe you have to find it right now in the Xbox Insider program, but if you were to sign up for that today, you get access to volume commands via the Xbox dashboard. So you can hit the Xbox button on your controller, you get the slide over menu, and if you move over to the audio commands, you can actually send
settings or audio, I think is what it is, yeah.
It's a kind of a quick action. If you're sitting on your couch, you can send volume up, down, or mute. Now, that works great for TVs, but monitors, like I said, is fairly new. So we let Philips know, hey, this is coming. You've got this big 55-inch monitor that we are assuming is probably going to end up in a lot of people's living rooms. How cool would it be if you could send volume up and down commands from your Xbox controller, not have to look for the remote or walk up to the monitor itself and use that control? So you can just do it from right there. And so really cool example.
With your controller.
Yeah. It's a really cool example of the type of little things, but they're nice, and it adds to the overall experience of the magic that we can create with these partners.
Yeah, and that's really what it's all about. Is they get brought into the program and they get to see up the development pipeline of features that we're working on, and they get some ideas. Oh, if we do this, take this, then some magic can happen somewhere for customers, and that's what's exciting is that people and make it easier. I mean, we're all busy. We don't have time to be futzing around in a menu and holding up a blue lens to make sure that the HDR is all matched. I mean, that's all great if you want to do that, but some people just want to play games.
I have a 6-month-old, so I'm looking for simplicity. I don't have time. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, so that's a lot of fun. Anyway, Casey, really appreciate you coming on, and I want to thank you on behalf of all the gamers out there that that are able to use these features and all the great work that you're doing and your team is doing and really is going to be doing over the coming years to really make the experience better, easier, faster. So I want to thank you for that. Any final words before I let you go?
No, it's exciting what we're doing. I'm very proud of the team and proud of these partners that we worked with. It's an amazing experience, truly.
Awesome. Casey Bates from the Xbox Hardware team. Thanks so much, and we'll get you on again sometime in the future to talk more monitors and more stuff. How's that sound?
Absolutely. Thanks, Larry.
Thanks, Anita and Casey, and I guess Rebecca and Larry. Great job. Always good to learn more about what's going on, both with inside the company with Global Accessibility Awareness Day, and also cool monitors. Like everything looks better.
Great job on that interview, Rebecca. I got a couple things to talk about for the monitors. Is Casey told me after we finished recording that like the 4K 120 hertz thing doesn't really exist in the sub 40 inch television section. So if you're looking to get you want a TV, you want something that's a little bit smaller, then this is a great opportunity to look at the Design for Xbox program. Also, he also wanted to let me know they all have glare matte screens. So if you've got a real shiny room, I know some folks have a lot of windows around them. I have one behind
maybe even
Jeff,
in the shot.
One, maybe even in the shot.
Exactly.
It's louvered. They also have, beyond just HDMI, they've got DisplayPort that does 4K 144, USB-C if you've got a fancy laptop that has USB-C connection, do the one cable thing. And then the MSI, which I have here, I haven't had a chance to look it up yet. It has a built-in KVM switch. Do you remember those? Is anybody KVM switches? Anybody? No? Okay.
What is that?
Kevin
KVM is
versus... Okay, I was wrong.
Keyboard, video, mouse. So basically it allows you to have one keyboard and one mouse, and you can switch back and forth. I hear you. Switch back and forth between like your inputs, and it will automatically. So great example. I'm on my computer. I hit whatever the special keystroke is to switch to my Xbox. Now the Xbox will recognize the keyboard and mouse that's connected through the monitor.
Oh, okay. Well, that's really cool.
Yeah,
you don't see.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah, so that's
I'm constantly every time, even the show, moving USB cables in and out of this thing to that thing. I'm gonna have to get me one of these.
So those are kind of cool. But anyway, so yeah, really excited about that. We'll put a link in the show. I wanted to show you this, Jeff and Rebecca and everybody. I don't know if you've seen this. I posted this on Instagram, and this was.
Oh yeah.
This is
going to do a live tasting.
Well, no, I'm not going to do that.
You should do it. Yes,
I don't. It's not cold yet. I just got it in, and I haven't had it in the refrigerator. For those of you that look at this,
he wants to keep it in pristine condition.
This is the This is the Bite limited edition zero sugar pixel flavored. So I will report next week what a pixel tastes like. What do you think a pixel tastes like, Rebecca?
Probably like Coca-Cola. I'm guessing.
I think it's going to taste like a cherry Coke thing. What about you, Jeff? What do you think? What does your pixel taste like?
Silicon, right?
Okay.
Like microchips.
Artificial.
I'm hoping it's like lemon. It's bright. It's gonna have a nice bright taste, but we'll see.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe it won't just
something like that. Maybe it won't just.
Wait, can we see the can again?
Yeah, absolutely. It was sent to me by our good friends at Coca-Cola, which is a brand that you may or may not have heard of.
Is this something that can be like bought?
Purchased.
Like
this apparently they're going to start selling it very soon, and
so
it's limited edition.
So is it bite flavored, or is it like package, like a special packaging, but it's still Coke?
My understanding is if you look at the top, it says Bite limited edition, and then down here it says pixel flavored. So I think Bite is the family of whatever they're going to have under this thing, and then this is pixel flavored. Maybe we're going to have, I don't know, Atmos flavored or brightness flavored, where it's at. or
you should
maybe
just make sure you update
HDR10 flavored
on that before you drink it.
I will absolutely.
You don't want to drink out of date soda.
But anyway, so I just thought that would be interesting to show you all what they're doing there. It's just fun stuff. So I don't drink that many soft drinks. I know you don't drink that many either.
You do like a good Coke Light.
I do.
Are you kidding me? I have an
Light.
Xbox fridge full of stuff right here. So
you do? What do you have? Could we just pull something random? Let's see what it is. This is not.
All right. Right now, this is unsponsored. All right, so I've got a Spindrift. Spindrift pineapple flavor, quite good, and then also as always, a Topo Chico. This is Twist O Lime, which I can't be sitting here chopping up limes down here on my desk and ruining my keyboard with corrosive citrus. No, the good folks at Topo Chico have taken care of that for me. I'm gonna crack that. Anyway. I have a nice Elgato bottle open. Larry, you asked. We're going all in on this. This is all going to get cut.
I absolutely did. In fact, I've got a bunch of Topo Chico stuff sitting over there. Jeff, do you have that hat that that they sent over for you?
I do. You sent me. Thank you. Yes, you gave me a Topo Chico dad hat, and I wore it out last weekend, and I got a compliment. And I was
you did not.
I felt like the the cool cock of the walk. Yes, exactly. The bee's knees.
Man, okay, keep going.
Alrighty.
I was in the catbird seat.
Okay, then. All right. Well, I feel like
I'm running out of turn of the century lines.
A little bit of swing music to take you out. Ahoy, hoy. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up.
This is where we find out the show has ended 10 minutes ago. We've just been sitting here talking.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. I'm not going to show the cover of this. But I'm going to interview an author next week, and I'm very excited about it.
It could be anyone.
It could be anyone.
Anyone who's written a book.
We're excited about hopefully they will show up, he or she or them or the group. Maybe it was a group thing. But so we've got a bunch of interviews for next week, and as I said earlier, a couple weeks before the Xbox Bethesda showcase, we will be dark, which means we won't have any shows. So you guys, the internet can kind of go on its rampage and try to figure out what's going on and wish things into existence, right, gang?
That's how it works.
That's a trap. That's bait. Don't take it.
That's bait. That's good that you passed the test. You both passed the test. All right. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next week. We got some fun stuff. We'll see you online. If we can bring up the lower thirds, this is how you find us on social. Me at Major Nelson. You can see that right here. And I follow both of these folks, Rebecca and Jeff. So thanks again for joining us this week, folks.
So honored
for the follow. And again, if you're following us on if you're subscribing on YouTube, we appreciate that over there. Like and subscribe and the whole bell thing. Spotify, you can find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts. Why are you laughing at me?
No, it's just the whole bell thing. You're like, it's this. You're barely tolerating the mechanics of like how people actually watch
it's not the
show.
mechanics, just like everybody leans into it. And I'm like, look, we're just here to this is not sponsored, we don't make any money, we're just here to provide a public service of news and information for Xbox gamers. So we're here.
We don't get paid extra for this.
Trust me, we love talking to you every single week. Apparently Jeff does. He hasn't said anything, so
no, I was waiting for you to like lapse into like, if you ever are going to be rebroadcasting or retransmitting this podcast, you need express written consent of Phil. Will Phil be suffice for that? Yes.
So, all right, we'll let you go. We'll talk to you later. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.